one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
President Dr. Reese. Vice President McDonough.
Here.
Secretary Summers here. Treasury Hanser.
Present.
And Trustee Schultz.
Here.
Trustee Schaefer. Absent. And Trustee Whitney. Here.
Any other changes to the board agenda?
Okay. There are none to the posted agenda. All right. Scheduled public comment for agenda items only. Mr. Bobby Root. And Superintendent Search.
Good evening. Thank you guys for giving me some time to speak. Yeah, I do want to speak on the superintendent search. I do want to address a couple things before that. So I know you guys know last week, I think, or last school board meeting, there was a man that came and spoke and said some things that were controversial and upsetting to a lot of people. And I just want to go on the record because there was rumors that quickly spread that said that I invited him or that Kristen Carr invited him. I did not invite him, and neither did Kristen. So just to kind of clear our names from that rumor mill, I had nothing to do with him being here. I became acquaintances of him through a podcast, but he invited himself. And I'd go as far as saying is I don't need a guy from Ohio to come to speak on my behalf anyway. If I have something to say, I'll come and say it. So I do want to apologize to anybody that was here that was upset by the comments that he made. But I just want to clear there. I did not invite him, and Kristen didn't either. I also want to address the point that was made. This conspiracy theory kind of spiraled out of control quickly. That somehow I want the school district to collapse. I don't want the school district to collapse. I spent a lot of time a couple years ago trying to get 3 of you guys on the school board. If I wanted the district to collapse, I wouldn't have done that. I don't want the district to collapse. What I want is accountability. That's all. And I think that's what most people that have been coming here for the last several years have wanted is accountability. So just to clear the air on those topics, I didn't invite him. I don't want the district to collapse. I want accountability. So speaking about the superintendent search, what this new male or female needs to know or understand is that they are coming into a situation that is volatile, right? And I might be pointing out some of these truths. I'm not the one causing them, though. I'm not the one causing any sort of collapse either. I'm not in a position of leadership here to create collapse. I'm just a dude on Facebook that speaks my opinion sometimes and comes to these board meetings. So the superintendent needs to understand the situation they're coming into. There is a volatile situation in the district, in the community. There is argument that things are collapsing. The financial state of this district isn't looking good. People are pulling their children. Teachers are leaving and upset. Oxford Mom Chatter is a cult of people that like to bully and attack people. I thought it was ironic that the same night you guys talked about bullying within the district, I'm getting bullied on a group chat or a Facebook group I have nothing to do with. So, just as a holistic look at things, for you guys to understand where I'm coming from, I think you guys should know that. And then the superintendent needs to know the situation they're walking into.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Number 4 on the agenda is our consent agenda. We have the meeting minutes from February 26th, the regular meeting, and the closed session meeting. James?
Yep. Move to approve the consent. Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support. Mary? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Number 5, the reason we're here for a special meeting. All right. Superintendent search selection of candidates. Sharina Shepard. You want to kick us off, and then we'll...
Yes, absolutely. things I want to pass out. What's that word? These are numbered, and I will be collecting them back when you at the end of the meeting. So
Okay.
I'll tell you a number. I know how many copies I have. Yes and no. I'll talk about that.
Yep, no worries. You have a small hand over about it.
Yes.
That's the fair side.
I just want to, before I start, make sure that you all are in the board portal and have access to all of the supporting documents that you may need before we get started. The old ladies on it. And everyone else is on it too. Okay, great. Okay, good evening again.
Hello.
Seems like I was just here yesterday.
You are.
I'm glad to be back again, and this time for probably one of the most important parts of this process, and that is to be able to speak with you all about the candidates that we have screened, that we have begun collecting information on, that we have begun reference checking, and allow for you all to this evening consider these candidates to be interviewed for your next superintendent. Before we begin, a couple of reminders just about the process. So we will be talking about these candidates by number only. I will be sharing with you all information that you have in front of you, as well as information that we've gleaned throughout this process. I will attempt to be able to answer as many of your questions as possible, although I want to tell you that, as you know, Mike, Scott, and myself work together as a team. Scott did most of the screening, so he's like my phone a friend, right? You know, if there's a question that I can't answer and we really need the answer, then I will just ask that we take a recess so that I can contact Scott and get that answer for you. But I think I should be able to answer 99.9% of your questions that you may be able to ask. I have, as well as you have, looked at all of their materials. A couple of them I have talked to directly myself. We will refer to them by numbers only, and as we proceed in the process, once the board comes to agreement on which candidates you would like to interview, we will then make their identification public. And we have done some pre-talking to these candidates, and then we will confirm with them once the board meeting is concluded that they were indeed selected to go to the first round of interviews to be the superintendent in Oxford. So what you have in front of you are all of the candidates of applications that were completed. And yeah. Oh, does that work? Okay, perfect. Okay. My eyes are so bad, so I probably need to move it closer here. Yeah, let me just shift it this way. Yeah, okay. No, that's perfect. That's perfect for me if it works for you. So the candidates that are to the left, that are in Tier 1, these are the top candidates that best fit the district and had many of the characteristics that were described in the leadership profile. In just a moment, we'll go down each candidate, but I want to talk about each tier first so that you can understand how they are separated. The candidates that are in Tier 2, these candidates are qualified, and in many cases just as qualified as the candidates that are in Tier 1. But they may not have either unique experiences or be aligned well with the leadership profile that was shared by community members and yourselves in terms of what you are looking for in your next superintendent. They may have had some negative events or situations or information in their background when we began to start our search, so I can speak to that in just a moment. Or other unique reasons why we put them in Tier 2, and I can explain that again as we go through this process. In Tier 3, these were candidates that simply were deemed to be not a good fit. Either they didn't meet enough of your preferred qualifications, they didn't have comparable experiences that the district had communicated, or they had, he, or they had something significant in their background that we felt like did not make them a good fit for what you are looking for in your next superintendent. So, with that, why don't we begin with Tier 1? These candidates are numbered across, not down. So, candidate 1, as you can see, is a out-of-state candidate. This candidate was highly recommended by one of our consultants. Several years in a superintendent experience. A lot of his experiences were aligned with things that the district has articulated they wanted in their leadership profile. And this candidate was deemed to be strongly recommended with not just references, not just people that knew the candidate firsthand, but also the alignment of the credentials of this candidate to what the district is looking for, and even what you all have expressed that you need. I'm going to go down to candidate 4. This candidate had varied central office experiences, lots of different types of central office experiences. This candidate has been in districts of different sizes, districts comparable to Oxford in size, districts much larger than Oxford in size, and districts much smaller than Oxford in size. This candidate had very strong references as it relates to student achievement, was referred to as a turnaround leader, was referred to as being a chief learner in the description of this candidate. I will note that this candidate has had a lot of movement, but in the conversation around the movement, there were logical achievements that you'd want to see a candidate making, moving in the right trajectory, okay? The next candidate number 7. Yes?
Would you go back, just give me those quotes again. You said turnaround leader, logical movement.
And chief learner. Okay. Yes. Candidate number 7 also had a lot of leadership and central office experience. This particular candidate had experiences in some of the top districts in he, she, or their state in terms of student achievement. This candidate also had been in districts that were of similar size, also districts that were much larger. This particular candidate's track record in every district is in the area of teaching and learning, and high levels of teaching and learning in each of the districts that this candidate has been in a leadership position. This candidate is well known, number 7, and all of the feedback was that this candidate was an exceptional leader. Candidate number 10, also had leadership in central office positions, but in a much smaller district in comparison to candidate number 7, for example. You know, in Michigan, it's when you say small, like it's relatively speaking because, so yeah, right. So it might be small to one, maybe an average sized district to another. So, candidate number 13 has a very different background, I would say, because this candidate has had experiences in both large districts as well as being head of several different charters. In the charter school world, they're referred to as superintendents because they report to a board. So this candidate had, like the other candidate that had superintendent experience reporting directly to a board. Okay, and this particular candidate had experience reporting to multiple boards. This candidate also has been in a unique position in a very much larger district. And this candidate had a lot of diverse backgrounds. And when I say diverse backgrounds, I mean in size of district, demographics of different district, racial background of district, very diverse candidate. Candidate number 15. This candidate was also highly recommended by a HYA consultant, and this candidate holds a high executive leadership position in a very large district out of state. And this candidate also was referred to as a problem solver and an exceptional leader. And then,
I guess without keeping it kind of vague, but trying to understand again some of these different titles from districts that are either out of our county or even out of the state.
That's a great point.
Have, like, a little bit more of a what that entails.
Yes, but it's not from directly talking to this particular person, just knowing the size of the district. So large school districts typically have, like, you know, superintendent, and they have assistant superintendents. They may even have area superintendents, and then they have assistant superintendents, and then they have a lot of executive directors, and then they may have directors. I'm assuming that is the trajectory, but I could double check that. Probably by a quick little Google search, I could find that out for you. Yeah, that's a great question, though. Yes.
I noted it before, but I didn't get
That's an excellent question. Yeah.
If you don't mind. Sorry. If you don't mind, could you go back to candidate 10? I've noticed you've said some things on the other candidates that you've heard that they were exceptional leaders and this and that. There wasn't a lot on 10. What kind of feedback did you have?
That would be when I have to phone a friend.
Okay.
Because I didn't do the screening for that candidate. Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like that at some point if we recess.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And so, Scott, if you're listening, then sit by the phone. And then, so the last one, candidate number 17, is currently in an interim superintendent position. And the note that I have on this candidate, I did not screen this candidate, is that the screening was exceptional. That's why this candidate was selected. In this pool, this candidate is, though, in a smaller district, but felt this candidate was perceived to be a very strong candidate from the screening and the credentials of the candidate, and is currently also in an interim superintendent position. Why don't we continue through candidate tier 2 and see if you all have questions about candidates in tier 2, and then we can take a recess and I can get the answer to the question that you all have asked before we start identifying candidates you might wish to interview. Yes.
At some point, can you just briefly address, you mentioned that screenings and just how you guys go about, how your team goes about screening, like what does that mean?
So I'm glad you asked the question because it may be different things to different people. So one of the most fascinating things about this process to me is that people find you more than you even find them, right? So for every candidate, we call them and we have a set of questions that we ask them to gauge their experience, their background, their interest, what they're currently doing. I mean, obviously we have the the resume. We want to hear them. We want to talk to them. We're listening for, certain things that you would listen for in our interview. And in some cases, by the questions that they ask or even by the way that they answer the question, they kind of self-select themselves in or out, right? Because I've had, and I'm not even referring to the Oxford search, but I've had people say things like, well, if I have to move into the district or the community, I'm not really interested. Things like that where it might be something you all said that you really wanted the candidate to do, right? So if in that case, something like that, we would consider, well, that candidate may have all the credentials, but they've already said that they don't want to do something that you all as a board have expressed is pretty important to you. So we'll still say that we're going to keep them on the list, but we might put them in tier 2, tell you why we put them in tier 2, and then you might say, oh, that's not that important. We really want to still interview them, right? That's pretty much how the screening process goes. However, I will tell you, in almost every case, in one shape, form, or fashion, either someone who knows the candidate has reached out to me and said, hey, so-and-so would be excellent, here's why, so on and so forth, or the candidate themselves have reached out and said, I have more questions, I've now read the leadership profile, can you tell me more about this? So it's more of an ongoing conversation, us getting to know them and them, getting to know us, Oxford through us, right, through the process, so, yeah. But we have a rubric that we fill out, and then we kind of deliberate, we being myself, Scott, Mike, whoever your lead consultants are, to talk about what are we feeling as a consensus are the strongest candidates to bring forward, and the reasons why, yeah. And just like you all, we might say, well, tell me a little bit more about that, or, explain to me this, or, that sort of thing, so, yeah. Okay, great questions. Tier 2. Perfect example. So candidate 2, 5, 8, and 11 are in tier 2 primarily, not solely, but primarily because they have some direct connection with the district, used to work here or live here, or have kids in the district, and it was expressed in almost every format that they would hope that the board would strongly consider a candidate outside of the school district. Doesn't mean you all can't move them to tier 1. Doesn't mean that you all can't still interview them, but we certainly listened when we heard overwhelmingly from the community that they were hoping that strong consideration would be given to external candidates. In addition to that, I would share with you that candidate number 8 did not have any central office experience, which was, in terms of qualifications that you all were looking for, was also noted. Just experience broadly, as much broad experience as possible. So that would be the only additional thing that I would add. But certainly not saying that those candidates are not qualified, certainly not saying that you shouldn't consider those candidates, just letting you know why they were moved to tier 2. And really outside of that, each one of those candidates, with the exception of candidate number 8 that didn't have central office experience, each one of those candidates has experiences aligned to your leadership profile, and equally also central office or superintendent level experience, so assistant soup, things of that nature. Candidate number 14 and candidate number 18 have officially withdrawn. 14 and 18. Yes. Sorry, 16. See, I told you my eyes are bad. Thank you. 14, 16. 14 and 16, not 18. Look at it. Yes, final answer. I promise. 14 and 16 have withdrawn. Candidate number 18 is in tier 2 because they had mostly private school experience. However, they did have good screening, so they were still kept in the running, so to speak, for you all because of that. And candidate number 19 had no principal experience, but had varied and very diverse central office experiences. Any questions about those that are in Tier 1 or Tier 2? Other than the phone call that I know I need to make.
I think, you know, if you guys have general questions, we can ask them, but we'll do a discussion each time we vote to whether or not we want to advance them. So, did you just want to run through Tier 3 real quick?
I mean, I can, you know, trying to keep confidentiality of these candidates, you know, being respectful of them and their careers. As I mentioned, they either just did not align to what the district was looking for at all, or they had very serious things in their background.
Okay. Okay, so we had a question on number 10, right, Amanda? Yes. Did anyone else have a question?
That you need me to go phone a friend on?
We may be asking again, so. Okay. All right, we'll give you
A few minutes?
Just that one, and that one that I was saying, I could do there too.
Oh,
number 15,
Well, it was technically for 15, but yeah, you know, just if I have some of the different,
reporting structures.
you know, reporting
that would probably have to be a Google search, but we'll see if we can answer on that. All right, where's the best place for me to go make the phone? Can I step in that
We
room
can
back
step
there?
back here, and then we'll recess at 6.
Oh, we recess?
Yeah, we'll recess for it.
Okay.
Thanks for warning me on that one. All right, we're all good. Back from recess.
Okay. Spoke with Scott. Scott's answer was that she had a really good screening, that she knows and works a lot with curriculum, knows curriculum very well, knew a lot about Oxford. He said that she had a lot of experience in her background, and he just had a really good feel. Based on your leadership profile, her answers to his questions were aligned with what the district was looking for.
And that was number 10, correct?
Yes. Did you find the answer for 15?
Kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, it's a huge district.
There's probably so many layers of leadership in that district.
So,
It sounds like it's like any big city district.
Mm-hmm.
Would be.
yeah, and so she's not part of the, or they are, honestly, that much distance. But, they aren't part of what they consider the superintendent's cabinet. But one tier under that.
That would be consistent with what my experience has been. So since it is a large district, what I want you to take away from that does not mean that this candidate does not have a large amount of responsibility, or either a lot of direct reports or a lot of experience leading an organization, because in districts that size, an executive director could be still in charge of hundreds of people and, a large amount of responsibility. So, yeah.
I have another question for you. Everyone who applied has been asked that they're willing to relocate. Not people that live within our people that would have to relocate.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, they are like they're ready to go forward.
They are aware that the board would like for the candidate to live as close to, if not in Oxford, as
Okay.
possible. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I would recommend that question is re-asked during the interview process, but
It's an important point,
it is.
especially if it's in Kentucky or wherever. All right. So as we go through the candidates now, what we'll do is we'll make a motion to interview the candidate. I'll take a support, and then we will have a discussion as the board, and then you will determine if you would like to, on a roll call vote, yes or no, bring the candidate back for an interview. James is going to take a tally. Once we find out how many majority we have, what we'll do is then decide if that is too many. Say if we select to move forward 10 by majority, but realistically we only want to interview 6, we will do the same process again with the candidates that all got majority vote of those of us sitting here today. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any other questions? We are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just so we stay organized.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? All right. So we'll maybe just round robin the motions, if you don't mind, and then his roll call vote is going to change every time, so there's not always the first person leading off this vote. So that way it doesn't feel like one person's influencing the group or whatnot. Okay. So who would like to make a motion for candidate number 1?
You want me to just start?
Sure.
Okay. So move to put forward candidate 1 to the next round.
So it's in your agenda,
Is there a packet? Okay.
on the back of your agenda.
Okay.
Move to interview candidate number 1.
Okay, I knew I had seen it somewhere.
No
Okay,
problem.
move to interview candidate number 1.
Do I have a support? Mary? Any discussion?
I mean, I like his experience. Oh, sorry. Mike.
And just a reminder, because I messed up myself, he, she, or they is probably a good way to refer to them, so that. Yes.
Yes. I like their experience. I mean, looked into some of his past as far as that's concerned. Their past. I got it. I'll get there. And yeah, he has a ton of experience in upper experience in upper education development, I guess. And yeah, I had him marked, or them. I'm trying to get in there one more time. I had them marked as high on my list to begin with, so before I even saw the tiers. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I'll echo that. I liked this candidate. They mentioned about the whole child learning. This candidate has awards for continuous improvement. This candidate mentions having grit and resilience, and then the way that they are first generation for higher education. They're an empathetic leader. Those are things that I really liked. And actually, I don't know if you can answer this. The one thing that I was not so keen on, but maybe there's an explanation. I found that this candidate announced their retirement in December of 23 at their district. So do you know what is going on with that?
So if you read in the letter, he spoke of his reasonings for that?
Right. No, I
And
saw that
yeah.
that the family wants to move
Thanks, Mike. Yeah.
closer.
The reasoning for it, yeah.
No additional
But this isn't,
information.
the end of this candidate's career. They're not on the just a few more years left type of scenarios. All I want to ensure that this candidate would be willing to stay here, longevity.
I think that would be a great interview question. I only thing that I would say, I know this is a formal meeting, but I'm just going to be very personal. I mean, I could technically retire, but I'm probably still going to work for another 10 to 20 years. So just because someone's eligible and might be considering retirement doesn't necessarily mean that they're at the end of their career.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
And Amanda, don't feel bad, because that was one of my notes, was like, how long are you going to stay? You come here, like I don't, I don't want 3 years from now
Sure.
we're in the same process, or,
Sure. Yeah.
hopefully the person's going to stay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time for a change
A
of
change. That's what I'm going to say. Think about life. Sometimes you get reinvigorated, right? In a new opportunity, new experience. So, yeah. But that's a great interview question. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I also did see in this candidate's interview packet, what I think I clung closer to is people who actually made a point to write to the board of Oxford and not to any board of a slew that they potentially were applying to. I think that took intentionality, and maybe it was just some keyword, Control F and replace, but this one felt at least as if it was a genuine reach out and not just a candidate in which was applying to multiple superintendency positions that may be open. So that was one thing I personally look for in all of the applications, because I feel like if you're applying to Oxford, you've done some research and you know how intentional the leadership has to be here moving forward, and that's what we're looking for. So.
Great point.
All right.
Okay.
If you don't have any other questions, James will do, you got your organization system down?
No, but we'll make, no, actually, yeah. Okay,
All right, roll call vote.
yep. McDonough?
Yes.
Schultz?
yes.
Summers, yes. Whitney?
Yes.
Hanser?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes. Okay. Candidate number 2, can I get a motion to start that one?
Move to interview candidate number 2.
In support? Support. Mary? All right, discussion.
I would say that for one of Serena's comments about the candidate having, that we heard from so many people to try to go outside of Oxford to find somebody. And that would be one of my biggest concerns with this candidate.
Being that
I
they're
also
so
think-
local, or what, can you explain it a little bit more, what you mean by that?
The ties they have from Oxford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I would also say
even
that,
his experience.
Yeah, his lack of experience,
Yeah.
their lack of experience.
Well, I'm gonna try. I'll try.
The candidate's lack of experience?
The candidate's lack of experience.
Yeah, there were some things that I liked about this candidate, that they've actually served on a board of education, that they have principal experience. The only thing, I was a little nervous with the strong leaning towards athletics. It seems that most of their career has been revolving around athletic director and sports information director and things like that. So that, I just don't see enough of top-level experience with this one.
When you're looking at grants and the amount of volume of money that comes in through different mechanisms, having experience in central office at the bare minimum to understand the grant process, I think is a critical component of this as we look at our, next 5 years, what that means. There's some big strategic decisions. I also attempted to look for candidates that have led the strategic initiative process. I do believe as a board we'll be having that discussion once we identify that person, that'd be one of the first things we'd want them to do. Of course, I haven't discussed that publicly with you guys yet. Here it is. And I think looking at these candidates through the lens of could they lead a huge strategic initiative, so that way we can redo our strategic plan under this leadership. And I think unfortunately this candidate, like with the recommendations from our search firm, did not have the experience to match that. Any other comments? Okay. Roll call vote, James.
Yep. Yeah. Schultz?
No.
Summers? No. Whitney?
No.
Hanser?
No.
McDonough?
No.
And Reese?
No.
All right.
All right, candidate number 3, I'll go ahead and make the motion. Move to interview candidate number 3. Do I have a support? Amanda? All right, discussion. I think this one had no relevant experience that I was looking for. And it was not even a directional application at all. It just felt kind of like a thrown in the pile. So,
I would agree.
all right. We'll just go to roll call vote on that if no one else disagrees.
Roll call vote. Summers? No. Whitney?
No.
Hanser?
No.
McDonough?
No.
And Schultz?
No.
Reese?
No. All right, candidate number 4.
Move to interview candidate number 4.
I'll support.
All right, James. All right, discussion. So, on this one, I didn't see superintendent experience. I'm pulling up the thing again right now, but also not the directional letter to Oxford. And I feel like I might have been maybe a little underwhelmed by the application in its totality. So that's just a general observation.
It's,
I do agree with that.
I was like, my note said that this is a bit light. Where's the rest of,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
no reference to Oxford. There were, all of the recommendations, none were from current coworkers. And although the academic growth piece was good, and that this person is noted to be a turnaround leader, there is a lot of movement. And I've also seen this person in multiple other searches through Michigan.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I watched some of this person's interviews, and although qualified, I don't think is the right fit for Oxford.
and it might have been a typo, but I noticed like, and this kind of sticks out for me for looking like, may we contact previous employers, even the one that they're not, they mark no on all of them, which, you know, it might have been a typo, but then also, why can we not contact? Yeah, but this one was like all, and I can understand your current employer necessarily until it becomes public knowledge, but the rest of them, there was some, I did like on it though, there was changing the sizes, so there's experience in different sizes of districts and stuff from there, so that was a definite a plus for it.
I do think the candidate has had experience in districts that face a lot of diversity in the student population in which they had varying amount of needs, both from a trauma standpoint, but also from, just other standpoints that, could put some of our students in the at-risk categories. And being able to navigate those would be a bonus for this candidate. But it didn't seem like the positions were held long enough for it to be cemented. I guess there's a lot of movement as was presented. All right. Any other discussion? Okay. All right. Roll call vote.
Yep. McDonough?
No.
Schultz?
No.
Summers? No. Whitney?
No.
Hanser?
No.
And Reese.
No. All right. Number 5. Take a motion.
Move to interview candidate number 5.
Do I have a support? James? And then discussion. This is one of the last ones that came in, so.
So, this candidate had a lot of references, or
Wonderful references.
right? Which is nice. I also picked up on in this one, it stuck out for whatever reason on this one, second language of Spanish, and being able to read and write, polite level, which is good. We have a diverse student body and stuff.
And a required Spanish curriculum.
Which I think would definitely help out. Plus, their background and stuff is, reading some of these recommendations and stuff. It was, I don't know. Some of the stuff I didn't realize this person did, and so it was nice to see this stuff in here. So, yeah. All right, that's my half thought.
Half thought is still a thought.
Also, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, most candidates had a section where they went through their accomplishments in each role and the trajectory of their career and what kind of milestones were reached at each one, and that was not in here. And so I would have liked to really have more information. The recommendations, of course, were great, but there weren't a lot of metrics for this
I think, unfortunately, this candidate doesn't have enough leadership experience yet. I think that's going to be in a district of our size with the needs that we have for support for staff, students, and community. There hasn't been demonstrated leadership at the cabinet level. That's been articulated in these, I guess you could say.
I guess that's why I was trying to go with it. Like, I know of, but like some of the things that were in there, I didn't know of, and so.
Yeah.
Like if there are achievements and things that are there, it's not.
I do appreciate all the grants
Yeah.
and the financial understanding. That is a benefit.
But moving to the superintendent role, that would definitely change. I mean, be good to be able to pick somebody, on staff, or be able to find somebody that would be able to replace that. But yeah.
All right. Mary?
I also want to add, well, we talked about this candidate in the
the reference letters, but also that they have earned their doctorate, which also shows me that they have that willingness to be a continual learner, and the willingness to improve.
All right. Roll call vote, if there's any other comments. Okay.
On this line, Schultz,
No.
Summers, no. Whitney,
No.
Hanser,
Yes.
okay. McDonough,
No.
and Reese.
No.
All right.
All right, candidate number 6. Mike, do you mind moving the motion by for us?
Move to interview candidate number 6.
I'll support. Okay. All right, discussion. I think this one was appropriately placed on the, by HYA in their tier system.
I think that's pretty much what,
There was no public school
yeah.
experience. It was all
Yeah. There was
something else.
a lot of
Very old
movement
job references and,
Yeah,
between states, districts, a ton of movement.
yeah.
My only note was lackluster resume. So.
All right. Roll call vote?
No. All right. Sorry, I was just making sure I give adequate time. Summers, no. Whitney,
No.
Hanser,
No.
McDonough,
No.
Schultz,
no.
Reese.
No. Candidate number 7. Back to you, Colleen.
Me? Okay. Move to approve the, oh, no. Move to interview candidate number 7.
Do I have a support? Amanda? All right, discussion. I think what stood out to me in this candidate is prior to COVID, they had rolled out trauma-informed training for teachers. So they're familiar
I did see that.
with what it is that we're asking for when we make those statements. I think in addition, although this person is not a superintendent, they have held high cabinet positions in other districts and not small districts, big districts. So they understand the complexity of multi-buildings.
Yeah, that was a note that I had too about the trauma informed and you know, the one particular quote in here that stood out to me, yeah, under their one section, I liked. I don't know. I don't want to say it because it'll necessarily identify them. I guess I don't. But yeah, larger districts, but you know, a progression up and definitely higher level administrative. You know, I think it would be an easy transition from for them for their current role into a superintendent full versus you know, where they're currently at.
Yeah, I have to agree with all of that. The one thing I didn't like is that there wasn't specific reference to Oxford, although that wasn't atypical in this group of candidates. The one thing that stood out to me that I wrote down that I really liked is that this candidate hired a third-party data analyst to streamline the data and improve. I really liked that. They're familiar with IB, and they led bond renovations. So those were the main points that I liked.
Yeah, they also had things about student senates and other types of committees that they had put together in order to engage stakeholders within the school.
They've worked at the building level. They've worked at, they're familiar with IB programs. I think that is helpful also. I also think it's helpful that, as you mentioned, Aaron, the district size that they're familiar with. I think that's important also.
I also, in addition to what you guys have all mentioned, they did, you know, they specifically mentioned IB, CTE, virtual learning. One of the things I looked for in all the candidates was if they had secondary level experience, because with us eliminating the assistant superintendent, I think it would be not necessary, but beneficial to have somebody with some secondary experience. And this candidate does have secondary experience, which is good. And they have central office experience.
Okay. Anything else? Are we ready for roll call vote? All right, James?
McDonough,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Summers, yes. Whitney,
Yes.
Hanser,
Yes.
and Reese.
Yes.
All right, I move to interview candidate number 8.
Support? Mary? All right, discussion? This, I almost feel like this individual almost needed to be in a different tier only because they currently don't even work in public schools.
Yeah, a lot of private school.
And
Yeah.
a graduate level, or undergraduate level, not much. So that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
So, hang on.
No problem.
While you're looking, James, I just wanted, my opinion is that with this candidate just doesn't have the, isn't ready at this point for what we need, I think, in right now in Oxford.
And my thought was for somebody else, so you can disregard what I was thinking.
All right, roll call vote's your thought anyways.
Yeah.
Now.
It is now. Schultz,
No.
Summers, no. Whitney,
No.
Hanser,
No.
McDonough,
No.
and Reese.
No. All right, move to interview candidate number 9. Do I have a support? James? Discussion.
No. This candidate had way too much going on for me.
There was a lot of movement. A lot of movement.
I noted that
Yeah.
he doesn't, they don't, I think the average was like 2.5 years
Yeah.
at a position.
Stability is really important, and those who can't exemplify that at any level of their career makes me nervous.
I will say that I've had personal interactions with this individual before when they worked here. And it was with actually my son and stuff, and it was a good experience, very empathetic, very listening, and such. But as I went through, obviously that is an interaction of itself, and then going through, and that was the one thing I picked out too, was just the here for a couple of years and gone. So what does that mean for us? Here for a few years and then on to the next, not liking it, retire, do something else. So, you know, again, I go back to my previous statement of we find somebody, but we need them for longevity, not just here for a year, 18 months, pad the resume, and move on to something else.
Roll call vote?
Summers, no. Whitney,
No.
Hanser,
No.
McDonough,
No.
Schultz,
No.
Reese.
No. All right, candidate number 10, Amanda?
Move to interview candidate number 10.
I'll support. All right, discussion?
I like their overall experience that they've had. They similar position, or to us, I say similar, but experience in the senior educational for like 6 years. What was the
Central office.
in central office there? Yep. Currently holding an assistant superintendent, very similar to stuff that we have here. It's been brought up a few times on other candidates though of the continual learning, continual education, advancements of stuff, and I don't see that here on this individual. It kind of got to their point and then they stopped. But
In degree?
I do see that they have some STEM experience, they have strategic planning experience. I think that can be beneficial. Curriculum, some curriculum background, which would also be beneficial to Colleen's point earlier. That's
I'm very on the fence with this one.
Say that again, you're very
I'm very on the fence with this one.
I am too.
There are some very good qualities here. This person really stresses community building, mentioned communication and transparency multiple times, implemented professional development that has a 90% favorable rate amongst staff, believes in strong relationships based on trust, developed a virtual school, and then doesn't quite have the experience, and also the statement that was written to Oxford by this candidate was personalized to Midland schools, not Oxford, and so I think that really deterred me. So again, I'm so on the fence with this one.
You know, I actually asked Mike about that, and he said, yeah, I'm not really sure why, because this candidate did not apply for that.
They were not in the Midland search.
Yeah, because I
That's why I was
had
like,
some
what?
other questions, and I asked him that, and he said, yeah, that's really weird, because, that's when I was having trouble last weekend trying to get back into the site, and there were a few things that weren't quite adding up for me, and that was one of them. And that's when he said, yeah, that candidate didn't even apply.
That is correct. The
So-
candidate did not apply to
Yeah,
Midland.
I'm not really sure why that was in there.
So I know that's on the top part under the statement, but if you go to the letter that's written towards, and addressed to Dr. Reese, it actually has us in there.
Right.
So I did see the Midland thing, but I just didn't know if that was a copy paste.
I'm actually on the fence a little bit too. I will say that Serena's recommendation that this person really knows curriculum and was a strong or is a strong interview, or had a strong interview, piqued my interest a little more.
Well, in that case, we could do a vote and decide if we put it on the fence in the pile of maybe to peer down later or to
Okay.
peer now.
All
How's
right.
that?
So starting McDonough,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Summers, yes, Whitting,
Yes.
Hanser,
yes.
and Reese.
Yes.
All right.
All right, number 11.
Is it on me?
I think so.
Move to interview candidate number 11.
Support Colleen
Support.
and discussion.
Well, the experience in the different districts here at the assistant superintendent level definitely is a plus for it. There's some longevity in the current.
Sure.
So it wasn't a concern of seeing the hops between the different districts of just kind of climbing the ladder. So that was definitely a positive for me and him, the candidate.
I have had interactions with this candidate previously, and they have not been positive. I can say that.
I found it interesting. Just some of the experience. There's a lot of letters of recommendation again for this one. And I'm really sorry about my coughing, guys.
You need that tea from Mike.
She got it, so she helped.
I did. It did help till I sat here for too long. There is some financial stuff that's nice. The letter was addressed to Oxford. However, this person ended up in the tier 2 because they have connections to Oxford. And I think that is incredibly important to continue to maintain what it is that our community is looking for too, because the other 3 candidates that had ties to Oxford, we have so far voted not to bring them forward to interview.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the other candidates that had ties here were former employees and within the district, yes? Or
This candidate was a former employee.
what was?
Yes.
There
Okay.
are many of them. There's 5 in total.
I didn't see that in but
Yeah.
that was just abbreviated, okay.
Okay.
And married to, I've spoken to this individual a few times on different occasions, and I don't know. It was I guess best way, a dry conversation. Wasn't, but the longer I talked to them, it wasn't a showstopper for me. But
Roll call vote, James?
yep, Schultz.
No.
Okay. And Summers, yes. Whitney.
Yes.
Okay. Hanser.
No.
McDonough.
No.
Reese.
No. All right, candidate number 12. Mike, do you mind reading the motion?
Move to interview candidate number 12.
Support? Amanda? And discussion. This person, HYA, put in their tier 3. I think with good reason, appears that they're not even working.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're not working right now, so.
And haven't been.
Not what we need right now.
This candidate also didn't have any principal experience, which.
Yeah, there was, it was very
Yeah.
underwhelming, would be my only statement.
They also had some issues. It's funny because I started taking all these notes before I got the tier system, before I saw it, I guess. And so it's funny, but that reflects it. I mean, I have a few notes on him or them, trying really hard to moved around a bit. Does have some past, I guess, media issues in the news. So that's it.
Okay, roll call vote.
Got a lot to keep track of. You're doing a good job.
You don't know if he's doing
You
it.
are doing a great job.
You're assuming he's keeping track of it.
I guess I am assuming that, yes.
I'm your backup, James. I'm writing it down.
I'm
So
working
is
on my,
Angela, we got a three-way check system here.
right.
We're good.
Somebody will keep me honest here. All right, Summers, no. Whitney.
No.
Hanser.
No.
McDonough.
No.
Schultz.
No.
And Reese.
No. All right, candidate number 13. Colleen,
Is this me?
Yep.
Move to interview candidate number 13.
Can I get a support?
I'll support.
Mike? And discussion. This was also a late one. I think that came in later.
So I found it was interesting that the candidate does have, or not interesting, but good central office experience. The candidate does have their doctorate, as you had pointed out, James, a couple times, that to be a lifelong learner. The candidate also speaks 2 languages in addition to English. So there were things about the candidate that caused me to pause a little bit, but I would be interested in interviewing the candidate to move them forward.
What did you pause on?
I paused on what they're currently doing and I'm not looking at it, I'm just reading from my notes.
That's fine.
Did they not have tons of public education experience? They don't, oh, they are a superintendent. They are a superintendent
Of a charter school.
of a charter, and then
Right.
you explained what that means.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
And I believe in this candidate's case, they were superintendent of several different buildings, almost like a school district.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
It wasn't just like a single charter, it was multiple
That's
charters kind of overseen by
Okay,
an organization. They were superintendent overall.
okay.
I am not confident that charter school experience is beneficial to us in our district. Though they are public schools, they are run totally differently. Charter schools do not have the public accountability that regular public schools do. And that gives me great pause.
I'm just not sure this candidate, their main responsibilities and what they have been for the last multiple years, really tie with Oxford and the type of responsibilities that we would be expecting. I'm not a big fan of this one.
I think I left this one more confused. Like, the letter was very nice, but then everything else confused me, and maybe that's just me, but it sounds like I'm not alone, so.
Yeah, I honestly could go either way with this candidate. I'm sort of on the fence.
Yeah, reading through the stuff, and then the letters, they're kind of old and older.
2015 is a long time ago to have a
Right.
letter.
Wasn't there a 2013 one as well?
Yeah.
And so nothing current, and not saying that they're not doing great work now, but, would like to see something a little bit more recent within the last 2 to 3 years of recommendation and in reference to what they're currently doing and how they would be a good fit for.
I do recognize the absolute risk of doing that, but however, this is a very intentional apply, and we will be, I foresee, in the news the minute we release these people's names, so it would have been nice if one person in his circle was able to write a letter more recently.
And the 2013 letter is for the Principal of the Year Selection Committee.
Gotcha. Yes, okay, well, let's go to roll call vote on that one then.
Okay. McDonough?
No.
Schultz?
Let me just look here.
Okay.
No.
Summers? No. Whitney?
No.
Hanser?
No.
Reese?
No. All right, number 14 withdrew, right?
Correct.
Serena?
Yes.
Okay, so number 15, I forgot where we are. Is it me or you? You, okay. Not that it matters, but go ahead.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
See, that's why there's a bunch of us. Keep me honest.
Pretty sure it's me.
All right. Move to interview candidate number 15.
I'll Amanda, we'll let Amanda support.
Amanda. Okay.
And then discussion. I was actually impressed with some of the stuff that this individual has done throughout their career, and full disclosure, I Googled everybody, so.
Of course.
I was, I'm a millennial. That's where I was introduced to the internet, at a young age. But in general, there was some online interviews too that I thought were well published. It was impressive work. I'm just pulling up the CV again.
To piggyback on that, I don't know if you saw the same video that I did on this candidate about the National Principal Appreciation Month and the Therapy Rabbit and all of the initiatives that this candidate had implemented. This person calls the kids family, is very focused on school climate and culture, crisis management. This person was on the Facilities Planning Committee, redesigned their professional development, and has a lot of policy expertise, which I value.
Also from a large district, I worry I might get bored being here, because that is a very big district compared to ours, but I think be the right speed.
Well, and to what you said earlier, intentional applied for this. So bringing that wealth of knowledge from a larger district and diverse from, what it comes from that. I did highlight on the letter that they wrote here, the second part, underlining the crisis management, trauma-informed education, under of them honing their skills and stuff, I think is definitely an added bonus and plus for what we need and what we're looking to get.
I also asked a friend who is from that district, because I didn't know, the candidate put in their letter that they have a track record of working in traumatized communities. So I kind of wondered, did that community have the same experience we did? My friend said no, but like many urban districts, they've had they've had suicides of their students, they've had a lot of gun violence. So, although we have a different trauma to deal with, somebody that knows what we're facing would be beneficial to us.
Even without the direct superintendent experience, I think that their background is very wide, and they've worked with other community members, and they've worked with what do I want to say, like municipal, they have municipal connections, they're familiar with AP, IB things. I think that's helpful.
It was
A
clear.
lot of implementation. They seem to be a real looking forward for support and growth. And I think you had mentioned also that they were described as a problem solver.
And they have 7 years of secondary education experience.
And the letters were very intentional, including letters of reference directed to us directly at this district. And it was clear that they were to us and not to a blanket.
Yeah, and if you look at the significant accomplishment portion under this person's principal experience, if you overlay that with what our leadership profile by the community ended up being, it's pretty much identical.
And you said too that, from your guys' side, highly recommended, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, roll call vote, James?
Yep, Schultz,
Yes.
Summers, yes. Whitney,
Yeah, yes.
Hanser,
Yes.
McDonough,
Yes.
and Reese.
Yes. Okay, candidate 16 withdrew.
Correct.
Candidate 17. Can I get a motion?
Move to interview candidate 17.
Support? Support. Mary? Discussion. I'm very concerned about the very interim role and size of district. Seems like a great candidate. Otherwise, I just worry that the experience is lacking.
Yeah, she's only been there, or, again, I can't.
You got 3 left.
I
2
should
left.
block,
You
I
got
should
2
block,
left.
black out these names. But, yeah, they've only been there for, about a year. And in that capacity,
Less than.
previously,
Not long in that capacity before that.
right,
Yeah.
And this person does have 20 years in the field of education, so certainly not new to that. I did like one of the recommendations that said this person was not afraid to try new things, digs into data, increases student achievement, but I am also nervous about the experience.
I mean, looking over the jobs, I mean, it's a gradual progression, and maybe it's purposeful, not to quickly rise to the top and get burnt out.
Good thought.
I am curious, and maybe I don't know what the situation is in this district, but if they are the interim, why they wouldn't want to be the permanent superintendent.
I'm pretty sure that the candidate mentioned that in a letter.
Maybe I missed
About
that.
Stability in another
Okay.
district.
Oh, because of the size of the district, possibly.
I don't know, they
Right.
just said something about.
Now I remember
think it
that
said
now,
about,
yep.
Why are you looking? I'm looking for the security of a long-term administrative opportunity.
yeah, but I read that as, I mean, looking for, I don't know if that answers the,
Mary's question.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the district that they're in is just so much smaller
Maybe.
than we have to,
Yeah.
just in general.
Superintendent's also a required position by the state of Michigan, so there is stability if someone would want it.
No one heard that,
Maybe that's on purpose.
Maybe. No, that's okay. I just said that the superintendent is a required position, so them being an interim spot, there would be some sense of stability would be my basic assumption, but I'm assuming at best. All right, roll call vote?
Yep. Summers, yes. Whitney,
No.
Hanser,
No.
McDonough,
No.
Schultz,
No.
and Reese.
No. All right, number 18 is still in, right?
Correct.
Okay. Have a motion for number 18.
Move to interview candidate number 18.
Amanda supports. Sorry, I know you need that. All right, discussion. I think they said it when they laid out the tiers. This individual has a lot of private school experience. You know, so that's a little bit different when it comes to looking at how complex funding can work. I know it's not simple funding at private school because there's still state aid and other things that flow through, but it's not as complex as private or public schools. And that concerns me coming into a district that is potentially facing some financial challenges.
I will say that I talked to a former parent who worked with this candidate, and they love him. Her, it. Him, her, it.
Oh, boy.
It's gone downhill.
Sorry.
Not there yet.
They love them.
Honestly,
They said
yeah.
they felt like that the candidate was an excellent academic and leader and a great role model.
On paper, the only drawback that I found was that this person obviously is from a private school, but I wrote a lot of notes on what this person has accomplished in getting safety grants, implemented behavioral threat assessments, advocates with elected officials for policies, notes Oxford specifically in all of the communication, and points out their trauma-informed experience and training. This person is ALICE certified, BTAM basic and advanced certified, active shooter training. On the recommendations, it was noted that they were instrumental in shaping board policies, trustee onboarding, strategic direction, and also mentioned that they came into a culture of this is the way we've always done it, and this person was instrumental in spearheading change. And one person noted that this person's greatest skill may be developing and maintaining relationships with shareholders, school committees, and school boards, and has reinvigorated their parent base. So really, really positive. The only concerning thing is the experience with public school for me.
I have a concern also with all of the public or private school experience is there's no experience with special populations.
What do you mean by that?
Special education, students.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, sorry. Private schools also have special ed kids. They just have it differently than.
Right,
but
and
you're
they can,
correct.
and they can pick and, private schools can pick and choose what students they allow in, and
Correct.
public schools cannot.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that, to me, wouldn't be a concern for a superintendent.
Okay. Sorry, I was finishing reading. We can do a roll call vote, James, if we have no other comments.
Okay. McDonough,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Summers, yes. Whitney,
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Hanser,
No.
and Reese.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, last one, guys, number 19. I'd make a motion to interview.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Move to interview candidate 19.
Do I have a support? Support. Colleen? All right, any discussion?
I remember the experience.
I worry about this individual's experience in general as it relates to our community and leadership of our staff. Just being that the person serves in a different role than what we have here in Michigan, is what I'll say.
Yeah, reading through the letter was nice, but I don't know. I think there's much better qualified candidates in the pool of people that we have. And so this one didn't stick out to me as one. I had a note on here, appreciate applying, but I don't think it's a good fit for their experience. And then, looking through what again, going back to what role we're trying to fill. From what I see on paper, it doesn't look like it would be a good fit for us.
They don't hold any administrative certifications.
I saw that too.
Right.
Right. That was the other thing that I saw, that, in there, will apply when eligible. So I don't know what that means. That was I had a big question marks, like, is it, being that they're not, we'll say, within the state of Michigan, I don't know what that looks like when you transfer from other states or other areas and stuff, but that kind of piqued, like, oh, what does that mean? And is there a timetable, and what would that put the district on the hook for getting to that point, and what happens if they don't meet that criteria within time, and then now we're back again looking for somebody. So again, I think that's why I summarize it as, I think there's much better candidates that we have in the pool of people, and fortunately this one is just not making the top of my list.
Very complicated.
Yeah. All right, roll call vote.
Yep. Schultz.
No.
Summers. No. Whitney.
No.
Hanser.
No.
McDonough.
No?
No.
Okay.
Okay, that is all 19 candidates. By my account, we have 5 that we have decided to move to interview. Am I accurate?
Yes.
Verifying. Yep.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Have all these candidates already agreed for us to publicly announce their names?
Yes.
And I will do that now.
Do we need,
Oh.
I'm sorry, we already have the motions. I didn't know if we needed to.
Make a
put the
motion with
numbers.
no.
I will say the number,
Okay.
and then I will say the name.
Okay.
And can I say where they're from?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And do we
Do we
don't,
want to
do we
pare it
need-
down any further, or is everybody good with
Is everybody
5
good with 5?
for the interview
Yeah.
schedule?
I think that's, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
and then when we do this, Aaron, just for clarification, you're gonna name them, we don't roll call vote again, correct? Because we already, okay.
Right.
All right. Very good. I'm just making sure we're
Okay.
covered.
All right. Make sure everybody can hear me, and hopefully I won't cough on you, I'm sorry. So candidate number 1, we voted to move forward, was David Rayleigh from Kentucky. Candidate number 7 was Michael Geromi from Michigan. Candidate number 10, Jennifer Herbestrate from Michigan. Candidate number 15, Tanya Milligan from Ohio. And candidate number 18, Cormac Lynn from Michigan. All right, guys. We want to pass down her.
Yes,
I have
if you
all
can.
of my notes.
That's fine. Well done. What will happen next is that each one of these candidates, provided they're not watching, will be contacted this evening and notified officially that the board has elected to interview them. We will be able to answer any questions that they may have. The one additional thing that you need to do tonight is to decide whether or not you are going to reimburse the candidates that are coming from out of state for their travel. There are a couple options. Some boards, all boards typically request the candidate pay in advance. They're reimbursed. So let's start there. One option may be that you cap it. So you're saying you reimburse up to $750, $1,000, $1,500, whatever you all want to come to agreement. Or you could choose to reimburse them in full. Keep in mind that your out-of-state candidates could have multiple visits to Michigan if they continue to advance through the process. So.
All right. I feel like we discussed this once.
We did. We briefly discussed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I feel like at the time we had a consensus, and I'll ask again, that it is appropriate if we want someone to take us seriously, that we help fund their travel to our district. We have a really cute bed and breakfast in town. I'm just saying, if we could get them local, I think it would even be more
There's one
charming.
in Leonard, too.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of, and Mike did as well, of capping it, to have like a reimbursement up
The
to.
two farthest people are Ohio and Kentucky, which are both,
Relatively.
yeah. I don't know where they are in those cities.
Even
but I
flyable,
feel
I
like-
would doubt that it would be,
Ohio maybe drivable, Kentucky.
no, yeah.
Depends, yeah.
I
I think they're- yeah, they're
I
in Columbus.
still think,
I would say, I don't know, $1,500.
Mhm.
I think is a reasonable plane ticket, overnight stay.
plane ticket,
Yeah.
overnight stay, they may have to rent a car, whatever that might be, I think.
So we need a motion for that?
Do we need a motion for that, Angela?
Is it? Yeah?
I
I
would,
feel like we already
Okay.
talked
I think you
about
guys
it,
need
so-
to, vote on it.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
formally.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
vote.
And that, just for clarification, that would be like per visit,
Yes.
correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Alright, I will improv the motion here and see.
Muddle through?
Yeah. I'd like,
and slow.
I'd move to set a cap on reimbursement for out-of-state candidates at $1,500 per visit.
Any support? Mary, and then all in favor?
Oh, can we,
Aye.
Hi.
I just wanted to have a second
Oh, sorry.
discussion.
Well, discussion.
Um,
I
So
guess that's true.
if, this is for the, or would they be coming in for the district tour and interview?
Yes.
Correct? So I'm wondering if out-of-state, no. This is just the interview first?
Yep.
Okay.
just first, just the interview.
Okay.
But I'm saying they may come back if
Okay,
they move to
right,
the second
because-
round, yeah.
And we may need to, if we have people coming back a second time that are spending a full day here, we may need to revisit the cost, because that'll be 2 nights. People coming for the second interview will have to spend 2 nights because it's a full day
Yes.
here, so, okay.
The likelihood of them flying out the same night or driving back the same night
Yeah.
after being in the district all day is very slim to none, so I agree.
And we'll be able to see from the first round what the costs look like.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so just while you're still here to confirm on the schedule, so we will do the candidate interviews next week on March 12th and 13th.
Yes.
That's a Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yes.
And do we know where we're doing those and the time?
We're gonna have to do 3 on one day and 2 on another.
2 hopefully on the Tuesday, right?
Yep,
have
'cause we have a board
regular
meeting.
board meeting.
Yeah, that's gonna be
So it's Monday.
for interviews.
Monday, Wednesday?
I wouldn't,
Tuesday, Wednesday.
I would
are the
not
different
want to
dates.
do interviews on the same night as a board meeting. I don't think we'll get, I don't think as board members we'll be able to participate properly. That's just too much. The interviews, the superintendent interviews they take a lot of energy. Yeah, from the board perspective. I would suggest not doing it on a board meeting night. I know it's more time, but it's,
Do we have anything on the first night that we have to get done, or versus this being the meat of it? Like, the interview process being that whole?
Especially if we try to do 3. We have to do 3 on one of the nights.
Okay.
That March 12th meeting is your only regular board meeting for March.
yeah,
Okay, thank you. That's right. Okay.
So we either do Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, board
Remember
meeting
Heather's the
Tuesday.
one that can't come Mondays.
We can't?
Heather can't do Mondays,
Well,
because she has another commitment, where she teaches.
But if we start early
no.
enough, she could.
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay. And Amanda can't start early, so Mondays are just not really good.
So you're thinking about changing the dates instead of the
No,
12th, 13th?
no,
No.
no, we'll have to have a discussion about our board meeting. I think that's the alternative. This is precedent. It may be our only meeting, but we purposely stacked the 27th. It was a very long meeting for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not positive what's all coming back.
We have to keep that regular meeting though.
I know. We have to have one meeting in the month of March.
So we can't do, I already had it on my calendar temporarily for the Monday, Wednesday. We can't do that?
Monday's really hard for 2 of our board members to make, not just one.
I can do it in the evening, but she can't do it in the evening,
Okay.
so.
Can we go to Thursday? Can
We have
do
coffee on Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Coffee that Thursday.
We have a coffee on the 14th.
Okay.
I think that would be more changeable than,
Move
Yeah.
the coffee to the 21st.
It's right before spring break.
Yeah.
So, do these candidates already know these dates as dates to be true?
Yeah, they're publicized.
Yeah.
I mean, have they, like, if they knew that they were gonna be selected, they've already taken these dates off
They
work?
certainly mentally have probably circled them on their calendar, so yes.
Yeah, that would be the only detractor, is because we agreed to that at some point.
What about starting early on Tuesday?
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
That's one thing we toyed around with. Do you guys mind me saying this? I'm
No,
sorry.
please
Yeah.
do.
One thing we did toy around with that, I think, when we were coming up with the 12th and the 13th. Also, I reached out to you all for the 13th to see how early you can start, and I think you were 5:30ish.
5 o'clock?
So, depending again on you all, you know, if you're looking at 45 minutes for an interview, for starting at 5, do you try to do 4 on that night? I know, I've been there too. I know it's a lot. I know that, but. And then you got Tuesday, you could do at least one before your meeting on Tuesday, if you all were able to get there.
So,
In a row at that time, at 5 and 5:30.
Could you start your meeting later on Tuesday?
Well, that's what I was wondering, can we start the
the regular meeting?
interviews at 4 o'clock
On Tuesday.
on Tuesday?
And that would be considered your special meeting, and then
And
we'd
then-
be done in time for your regular meeting to begin at, as
6:30?
normal at 6:30.
Right, or you could you push your regular meeting down 30 minutes, I guess is what I'm saying, and start it at 7?
We'd have to vote on it tonight.
We'd have to vote on that tonight to change that meeting time.
And-
It's a regular meeting.
Tuesday's a hard night for me. That's, I don't have much flexibility on Tuesday evenings. It's hard for me to get here at 4.
can you do 5?
I can do 5 on
You did a
Tuesday.
5 o'clock interview and a 6 o'clock interview.
And then push our,
And then put your meeting
regular
to
meeting
it.
back to 7?
I'm telling you, I really, really, and you guys are,
We don't have
You-
school presentations. We
You
don't have,
don't.
we did this on purpose though, Mary, because we talked about it before.
Wednesday though.
The
No.
candidates don't know about Monday. The
No.
candidates are
No,
prepared
yeah.
for Tuesday,
We
Wednesday.
switched it quite a while ago to
Okay,
Tuesday.
so I missed that.
I think we're gonna stick with our dates.
Okay,
I mean,
so that was
I've done
Tuesday,
them too.
Wednesday?
I know they're awful.
Okay.
I mean, the interviews aren't awful, they're just, they're long. Yeah.
Well, I just want to be
There are a
sure
lot
that
to
our,
think about the whole time.
Has there ever been a short meeting?
I
I'm
just
just
want to be
curious.
sure that though our
When I wasn't
candidates get their proper time. I
Yeah.
want to be sure that they have our full attention when
From
they are
5 to 6
here.
and
Right.
6 to 7.
Which is why I definitely wouldn't do them after.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, later, I
No.
would do them before, so,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I must have missed that we're not doing Monday either, because I still had it in both my calendars
That's what I had.
that Monday, it was a TBD, to be confirmed. But I still have in both my Outlook and my other calendar, Monday blocked off from 5 to 9, and then the meeting on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, 5 to 9 blocked out. I
I can do any of them.
you know,
I can do
I just
Monday,
gave my whole life
I
to the
can do
district
Monday
that week.
5 to 9.
That's what I did.
I want
Thank
this
you.
to be obviously I guess, a fair process, right? As well as one that we can make sure that we're not fatigued for the later ones. I would have some concerns getting 4 in one night. And even then having only one and possibly a hard stop, kind of, for one. I don't know how long they're gonna take.
So you want to do
So-
2, 1, 2?
I mean, I think we could do 2, 1, 2.
2 on Monday,
One
1 on
on- Okay.
Tuesday, 2
2
on Wednesday.
We just won't have Heather on Monday, right?
Right.
Yeah. I just
That's
asked
fine.
her.
Or we could do
I
2,
thought
3.
didn't she say to us she could
Yes.
miss one of her classes
I thought,
on a Monday?
I'm not,
That part of it, I'm not.
I thought I sent her a text, I don't know if she'll even see it, but
I'm good with doing all 3 days if we have to.
Or I was thinking just 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 on
Oh.
Tuesday and 3 on Wednesday.
That's what I thought you were going
Yeah.
I meant,
Monday.
what I came in here thinking that we still had blocked off on Monday, blocked off on Wednesday. So I was thinking 2 on Monday, 3 on Wednesday.
So we would
And then
have
the
to
meeting-
check with the candidates to see if we could
I didn't
even
realize
get
that.
2 to 3 to come on Monday, because as of right now, the
Or, I
candidates
mean-
are only aware of Tuesday and Wednesday.
Unless, I haven't seen our agenda for Tuesday either. So I guess we could.
Yeah.
Well, keep in consideration, 3 of your candidates are here in Michigan. So you could do the ones that are in Michigan, maybe
On
on those
Monday.
days. On Monday, or some variation of them on Monday, and try and do the candidates that are traveling the furthest on the days that you already had marked down, in case they do
So
have.
Wednesday for them.
Yeah, and,
Yep.
or in case they have bookend the travel days so that they can get here and get back. So it'd be least disruptive to those that are coming from out of state, if you were to make that change.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with, so we'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is what we're thinking.
We'll do Monday, Wednesday interviews, Tuesday board meeting.
Right.
Are you guys okay with
I
that?
think that's okay. I do think that everybody does need to be here, though.
Well, she hasn't answered, so.
I don't know what else we can do with that. Yeah, that's okay with me for my schedule.
And you said the earliest is 5 that you could get here without causing, or 5:30?
You're saying Tuesdays?
On Tuesday,
No, on Monday if we're doing Monday.
It's Amanda.
Later the better for me on Monday, but I'll make whatever work.
5:30? Similar to like today, was it doable?
So are we
So-
gonna do 2?
That's what I'm hearing is 2, and I'm verbalizing it for sanity check. 2 on Monday, 3 on Wednesday? With the regular board meeting on Tuesday?
I would almost rather have one candidate on Tuesday and come in a little bit earlier than have 3 interviews on one day. Because by the time you get to the third one, we've already asked the same questions twice, now we're asking it a third time, and I just don't want to lose any integrity of that process.
So you make it 2, 1, 2.
Yes,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
yes.
I'm kind of on the other side of that. I feel like I want to focus the full day on the
On them.
superintendents, on the candidates, and have that separate from the board meeting. If we're spreading it over 3 days,
Right.
you know, I would like my focus to stay on the board meeting for Tuesday and candidates on Monday and Wednesday, but, you know, I could go either way, but those are my thoughts.
I would go with that too, because
Yeah. I've interviewed in,
I would rather just interview or just do a board meeting if I'm not combining them together.
right.
How's that? If I have to be here 3 days.
And if
I'm
things
being
go a little bit
selfish now.
longer, we're not backing up to the board meeting where we feel rushed, especially if they,
If the conversation's good.
yeah. Or I have a half thought and that comes back later, yeah.
So
Okay.
then we would have to, if we do
So
2
we'll
on
do-
Monday and 3 on Wednesday, we still need to meet to discuss who's coming to the next round. So would you want to put that? I don't think, like, we would have to have another meeting. So we interview all the candidates, and then we
Deliberate.
right. So then that would be if you did it that night, it would be 3 interviews plus deliberation. So for us, we'd have to set up another meeting. I'm not capable of doing that, I'm just telling you. I don't think Aaron would be. I love you, Aaron, but,
Well,
What about the following week, though? I mean, I don't think I would want to make a decision that quick anyway. I'd want to hear from our
The site
teachers, our
visits.
students, our community
well, the
members.
finalists are coming the 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yeah,
we
they're
have
coming
to
the
do
next,
it.
So
the
they're
next
already
week, so you have to
scheduled.
decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we set this up when we first engaged with HYA. And so originally was just Monday, Tuesday. Then we had the request to move off Monday, so we did Tuesday, Wednesday. We could vote tonight to move the regular board meeting to a different day. That is an option as well.
How much time do we need?
18 hours?
No, not for a regular board meeting, we need a little more. We need like 3 days.
All right.
Yeah, but
We're
Yeah,
well
that
within
too.
3 days for that.
I'm asking.
Don't worry, I got my OMA book here.
It has, are you thinking it has to be changed within 3 days of the scheduled meeting? It has to be, tell me what you think within 3 days again, Mary.
So we have to give notice of a meeting change at least 3 days before.
That's what we'd be doing tonight.
And that's for a regular meeting, because regular meetings have different rules.
Right, but I think we're within that, right, with today and the date, is that for the 3 days? You're,
We're 8 days out.
yeah, 8 days out.
And if you were to do that, then I would recommend you do 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and 1 on Wednesday, and then after you're done with that 1, deliberate. So it'd be 2-2-1.
Okay. And then move our meeting to the following week?
That's spring break.
No, No,
Spring break's the following week
the
after
following
that.
week, yeah,
Okay.
because the following week's the 18th, 19th, 20th,
Yeah.
starting, so.
Oh, I got it.
It's not sure.
I mean, it's not ideal, but I can do that.
Would have to be on the 21st because of the candidate days in the district. We don't want our community to feel like they have to choose between us or them.
Will they be here at doing things in the evening?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the community?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So would the 21st work for a board meeting?
It does for me.
It is a Thursday.
Yes. Yes, for me.
I could do it.
Okay.
So we're gonna do 2 on the 11th, Monday the 11th, 2 on Tuesday the 12th, 1 on Wednesday the 13th,
And then
And then
deliberate.
deliberate.
and deliberate.
Mhm.
And then the board meeting is moving to,
From the 12th to the 21st.
okay,
I know, we have to do a
Okay.
motion for it first,
Okay.
but yes.
all right.
Can I also ask one additional question? What
Yep.
time will you start on those 3 days?
5:30.
Each day?
Does that work for everybody? 5:30 each day?
It does for me,
Yep.
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do I have to change the location for that now
Where are we
or?
gonna meet?
She's,
Wherever Angela can find his room.
That's pretty much what it's gonna come down
Okay.
to. To be honest with you, this is the space, this media center's easier available.
Okay.
Easiest available.
so do I need to put the location for the regular meeting in the motion is what I'm asking, because I believe we do.
It's, yeah, well, at least the building, at minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want-
So they're
you wanna
all
wait
here
just
at
a minute?
OMS.
Yep, I'm just writing the motion out right now, so.
Okay.
Can I collect, did I get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
got
hope
them.
you,
Okay,
I hope
thank you.
somebody already.
Is there anything else you need from us, Serena, since, thank you for listening to us openly debate our lives.
too, because I'm sure I might get asked.
You know, there's dinner back there.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay.
But I do wish to go ahead and move on so that I can call each
Yes.
candidate
Yes.
since it's not
Yes.
public?
Yeah.
Actually,
Because I'd rather them hear from me than from.
before you leave, I had a question
Sure.
about the questions that we
Yes.
will be asking the
Sure.
candidates.
Yes.
You had proposed questions in the portal, but I would like to change some, add some,
That is-
customize to Oxford.
That
What
is
is the procedure
completely-
for that?
Yep, that is completely for you all to, kind of noodle around. You can send them, probably to Angela, and
Okay.
and then we will continue to. We made some recommendations. We'll continue to and give you guys a final list. I would recommend. I'm glad you asked that question. I would recommend the first night. I know you said 5:30. I recommend that you guys have 30 minutes to get your game plan together, so to speak, before you jump right into interviews. Make sure who knows who's going to ask which question, so on and so forth. So maybe that first night, let's push them to 6, so you guys can have from 5:30 to 6 to get all on the same page. Make sure you have all your materials together, and so on and so forth, and review any final changes you want to make to questions and things of that nature. Will that work?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, because I heard someone say about time, so I didn't want to go earlier than 5:30. But
Right.
if you guys have from 5:30 to 6, and you can start your candidates at 6 o'clock.
It's fine.
Okay.
So, Media Center here is available for
The
March
21st.
11th, 12th, 13th, and the 21st.
Okay,
Okay.
then we'll just move it to here then. Okay, I'll make the motion then, since I wrote it out, if you guys are comfortable with that.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
Do you have something else to say?
I was just thinking,
Serena can go, right? Are you done?
yeah,
Oh, you guys-
I'm done.
We're
It's been a
done.
pleasure. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
As far as just in case something happens and we know that, like, a ton of people are going to show up or something, it would be maybe easier to just say OMS.
I'm just gonna say OMS,
Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
Cool, perfect.
Okay. Motion to change the regular scheduled meeting from March 12th, 2024 at Lakeville Elementary to March 21st, 2024 to Oxford Middle School.
Oh,
All right, Mike,
got one, Mike.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Regular scheduled meeting has been changed to accommodate candidate interview, 6:30, still same time. All right, on the agenda, unscheduled public comments. One.
Do we have to add anything to other dates, or are we're good with the 11th, 12th, 13th?
11, 12, 13, 5:30.
Yeah, okay. I'm good, I just didn't know if we had to do anything publicly, like.
No.
Okay, got it,
There's special meetings, we'll just post them
okay.
with the 18 hours,
And coffee chat was
Thursday the 14th.
14.
All right, Mark.
Let's begin by addressing the failures and false information provided by Superintendent Vicki Markovich and her security team, specifically Allison Willman and Jim Rourke. The security update provided by Dr. Allison Willman provided false testimony and information relating to the details of our recent bomb threat at the high school in the February 27th board meeting, quoting 10:02 Sheriff's Department gave permission to send out notifications to students and parents about the threat. After verifying with the Sheriff's Department, it was brought to my attention that the Sheriff's Department does not make these decisions relating to communication with students and parents for threat assessment or the closing or continuation of school activities at the school buildings. The superintendent and security team is responsible for these decisions. How do our employees making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to keep our children safe justify this failure to notify the students and parents of a bomb threat and then make an effort to provide false information to the board and our community? The email threat was received at the school at 7:05 a.m. But staff didn't bother checking email, and the security team didn't include staff emails in the Gaggle system to automatically catch and notify threats. Another failure of the security team providing half solutions. DriftNet was sold to our community as an active threat detection system installed in the high school by Vicki Markovich and security team members. Now we find out the product has been eliminated and never worked. Why is the system no longer active, and why was there not due diligence into the effectiveness of the DriftNet products before implementation? Another failure of leadership by the security team? Why is the Evolve system turned off for school events after 3 p.m. and on the weekends? Another half solution provided by Vicki Markovich, Allison Williman, and Jim Rourke. But we have enough money to pay Stephen Wolf, Pamela Fine, and Jim Rourke $40,000 a month. Michigan State University Board is removing failed board members through censure and coordinating with the governor's office for immediate removal. When will you take action on the security failures leading to the unnecessary murders of Hannah, Madison, Justin, and Tate? Is your loyalty with the victims' families in this community or Heather Schaefer and Mary Hanser? Please stop seeking approval and leadership from your employees and Superintendent Vicki Markovich, who have been dividing and creating disruption since her arrival at the direction of previous board members associated with November 30th, like Dan D'Alessandro and Heather Schaefer and Mary Hanser. How long will you make us fight for justice? It's time to remove these individuals who have failed us all so our community can begin to heal and unify behind students and staff. The failed leadership of Oxford Community Schools is bringing everyone down. It's time to remove these individuals who failed to fulfill their responsibilities as board members. Mary and Heather, please help Mary, and I'm almost done. Please help Mary and Heather out the door. The next superintendent should not have to deal with them or anyone related to the November 30th shooting, including Stephen Wolf, Pamela Fine, and Jim Rourke. The details surrounding the high school memorial for Hannah, Madison, Tate, and Justin were communicated at the last board meeting is just another example of how Vicki is strategically undermining our students and coordinating efforts with Stephen Wolf and Pamela Fine. I would also like to draw attention to the mountain of paperwork that was collected by our community members to expose these details through FOIA or Freedom of Information Acts. Why is the school charging the community to bring the truth to the board members and the public? All FOIA fees relating to the November 30th incident and the victims relating to Hannah, Madison, Tate, and Justin should be waived so we can provide the hidden information to new board members and address known failures. It's time for the board members to censure Heather and Mary and work with our governor in accordance with law to remove these individuals who continue mocking our victims and their families and every survivor of November 30th. Motion to censure Heather and Mary should be on the next school board meeting agenda for March 12th. Heather, where are you hiding tonight? You and Mary could end this by resigning immediately out of respect for our victims and every survivor from the shooting that happened because of your failures as defined in the investigation report. And Mary, why do you get upset about shootings at other schools but can't take responsibility for your failures that actually allowed our shooting? A perfect example of failure.
Thank you, Mark. All right, item number 7, final board comments. Have none?
I do. I just wanted to thank President Reese for pursuing the ability to have tonight's meeting in open session rather than closed. I think that it is very well received and appreciated, so thank you.
Thanks. Any others? All right, this meeting is adjourned, 7:32. Thank you.